All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. What's going on, Elevation Nation Tribe? How y'all doing? Y'all enjoying your Sunday? I'm enjoying my Sunday. I'm enjoying my Sunday. Yeah. Elevation Nation Conversations. I'm God Body Sean. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Tap in with a comment. Staying consistent with it. Um, the technology is getting better. I got to find out a way to put some music in the background. So, if anybody got any ideas on how I can put music on my like some soft jazz or something like that, put some music in my background so I could I could play some music while I'm chopping it up with the tribe. Give it a different little aspect, different little flavor to it. But I'm here. I'm here. I'm good. I'm here. Yeah, you check out the poster. You see the poster right here in the background. I checked out that Napoleon movie today. Yeah, I got my Invisalign in my mouth, so that's why I'm talking with a lisp, whatever. Get your teeth right. Elevate your game, fellas, men and women. Get your teeth right, and we ain't talking about the fake teeth. These are my real teeth, and I'm getting them in line. So we doing real shit. But yeah, I checked that Napoleon movie out today. 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I say let me take a sit down and check the movie out and see what's going on with it. Um, I've always been a big history buff. I love history and things like that. So I wanted to check it out. And I know, back in the day when I was in Chicago, in the streets a little bit or whatever, my cousin, rest in peace, Nino, he gave me the name Napoleon. So that was my that was my street name. I don't know. I don't know why, but I guess they all had their reasons for it. But shit, I was the same height or a little bit taller than my cousin. I'm 5'6.5", 5'7". But yeah, they gave me that name Napoleon, and no, I ain't had a short man complex or what they call it, Napoleon complex or whatever. But I ain't gonna lie, I did have a explosive temper or explosive attitude, but I think we all can have that if we get upset about something, and strike the right nerve. But I did some research on Napoleon, and come to find out, I mean, he was average height for what they say in history books. He was like 5'6". They say 5'2" in units, I guess, over there in France or whatever. So in American measurements, that's like 5'6". So I guess he was average, or a little less than average. So I don't know where they get the whole Napoleon complex thing from. But I highly recommend y'all check that movie out. If you like history, if you like movies about like battles and war and just history things like that, check it out. It's a good movie, man. The cinematic photography in it was dope. They showed a lot of the old buildings over there, I guess, in France and you know Italy or whatever, and Russia and all that. So the filmography of it or whatever it was, the photography of it was dope. It was dope. So I enjoyed it. I checked it out. Paid like $20 for it on Prime. So it was worth it. A little 2.5 hour little relaxation session. But I was checking it out and I was thinking, man, Napoleon was on some simp shit. But his wife Josephine, yeah, he was a straight simp for them. They had a toxic relationship. Him and his wife Josephine had a real toxic relationship. Um, but I think he had, like, during the whole movie, they were showing the dynamic of him was basically he was a beast and a monster when it came to kind of being in control and of his troops and his battalion or his army or whatever, because he was a general and he rose up to be like an emperor or something like that. But he was in control and in command when it came to that part. But when he was dealing with his wife Josephine, he was more kind of like a simp, or just kind of submissive to her in some, like in a type of a way. He was kind of submissive to her, and they had a toxic ass relationship. Um, the way he met her, his wife, they were at a some sort of like an event or a party, and she was up in there, I guess looking good to him, you know, if that's what you like, that's 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 what they like over there, the French or the European aesthetic. But she had a little breast out or whatever. She up in there flirting with the men and all this and all that, and he was just standing there watching her while she was in the party, and she walked over and approached him, and she was like, "Why are you watching me? Do you like what you see?" And he said, I'm not watching you, um, and you know, I'm not checking for you. So they didn't really talk or anything like that during the party or whatever. But I guess a little time later, they ran across each other again, and he sent the letter. No, she sent the letter to him. Yeah, she pursued him. She sent the letter to him. This was after one of his victories, on the battlefield or whatever. And she sent a letter to him and asked him to join her for like tea or a little meet and greet, have a little something to eat. And Josephine was basically like she was a hot girl. She was a hot girl. They met for something to eat. They met for some tea, and she was like, she's single. She had two little kids. So Napoleon was basically he was a step baby daddy. He was a stepdad, but she had two little kids, and when they met, they had lunch or dinner or whatever, and she was talking to him, and she was saying that her husband or whatever he had passed away, and she's a widow now. And back in those days, the women, if you weren't under the covering of a man, or if you weren't, married or with a man, then you were basically living in poverty. This is back in the 1790, 1780 to 1800s. It was still, over in the European society, it was a patriarchy. So it was a male dominated, you know, system. So the women were basically, getting in where they fit in. They were basically submissive and subservient to the men. And she was telling him, "Hey, my my ex husband that passed said, what did she say? If you if you want if you want to if you want to stay alive, then you have to man, what was it? What was it? Man, she said something like, if you want to stay alive, then basically, you gotta fuck. You gotta give yourself up to the man or to a man, and get with him and be with him." And she in the movie, I don't know if this is how it actually went in historic times in the movie. They were sitting in front of each other, and she kind of just slowly opened her legs up so he can look and see. And she was like, "Hey, I want to get with you. I want to be under your covering. I need your protection. I want to, you getting money. You the top dog right now. Over here. So I want to rock with you." And Napoleon he was sprung from that day forward. He writing her letters. He sending her love letters. He being possessive, all that. Let me see. I think him and Josephine were kind of trauma bonded. Man, he was abusive. They were fighting each other. He was controlling with it and all that. Uh, the way that she was controlling him was she was controlling him, with sex. And they did something key in the movie. Whenever in the movie, whenever they were making love, they always showed it as him doing it doggy style and kind of just doing it real aggressively. It wasn't never like a actual love making scene where they were kind of making love and being intimate and gentle and soft with it. It was always real aggressive, man, from like doggy style, and it kind of seemed like she really wasn't feeling him like that. So they got together. He became the step baby daddy, taking care of her two kids or whatever. And but he was still in the army in general. What's going on, baby girl? You good? um, And while he was commanding his army and going off to battle and things like that, he was sending letters back to her, I guess almost like on a daily basis, writing to her from the field and things like that. And he would be telling her, I love you, I miss you, I want to be with you, and you need to write me every day, and why aren't you writing me, and tell me the truth. Are you being with someone else? And by this time, he having a lot of success. He went in a lot of battles. I think he had a total of like 61 battles over his career. So he went in a lot of battles, and um, she's with him. She's with him. But while he's off, Josephine is getting down with a Pookie. She getting down with some just regular citizen at the time, and while Napoleon was off at war, fighting a battle, I guess his second in command, one of his generals, came and asked him, would you be mad at me for telling you something? And he said, no, I wouldn't be. And he said Josephine has been taken up with another man. So basically, she was messing with another dude while he off at war. And he going crazy, he going insane. He writing letters back, and she ain't really writing him like that. And finally, I think he was over in like North Africa at a battle over there, and he was so possessive and so upset that she wasn't returning his letters and things like that, that he left and went back to France for a little while he left his troops over there in Egypt. So even back then, men were falling off their square chasing behind sex. He is major general, winning all these battles. He off across the world going to war, but he leaving his troops over there to come back and check on his woman at home. Ain't that something? So he done went through all this. Well, he used his troops to throw a coup and overtake the royal family or whatever, and he made himself emperor. That's how he came into power, and by him being a general, so he got the troops behind him, so he got the muscle behind him, so he kind of took over the aristocracy, the rich people, or whatever, and he put himself in power. But he taking over nations, he taking over kingdoms, he winning and killing on the battlefield, but he going mad and insane because he think his woman is back home fucking a Pookie or messing with a Pookie. So he pack up and he go back just to get that under control. And when he get there, now like I say, this is not a really historical movie, but I don't know where they got the information from. But I'm just talking about the movie and the things that were happening in the movie. When he get back home, he get with her, and he tell her, "Hey, I need you to tell me I'm the only one. I'm the only one. You don't want nobody else." And he make her say it, and he telling her, "I'll go crazy if I know you messing with somebody else, and you're being with someone else while I'm out there trying to save my country and all that." And it just show you that you can be one of the most powerful men in your kingdom or in your realm, and you simping and you falling weak for a woman or a female. I guess that's like a classic story of women using their femininity to kind of get power over a powerful man. He control everything he want to outside of the house, but when he come home and he inside the house, she running things because he want access to sex. Men got to start taking control of their sexual urges and taking control and having power over their urges. You got to control that if you want to be a great person or a great man, and it's about following your mission or your purpose. You can't get off your purpose chasing behind no woman or following behind on their game plan. So that was a real interesting dynamic in the movie between him and Josephine. And he uh he actually married her, but they were never able to have a son, and he wanted a son to pass down his lineage or whatever. So he was telling her, hey, if you don't have me a son by next week before I go off to war, I'm getting a divorce from you. We getting a divorce. And what happened was is he was real weak for his wife Josephine, and he was also a mama's boy as well. So his mom came to him, and his mom set up a trick situation where she said, okay, look, we got to find out if it's you or if it's Josephine, if they're who's at fault for not being able to give you a son. So the mother set up for him to meet up with a younger lady, and have intercourse to see if he could get her pregnant. And if he got her pregnant, then that means that Josephine was the problem. So his mom set it up. They have an encounter, him and the younger lady, and she winds up getting pregnant. So right then and there, back in those days, it was paramount that a woman be able to give a man or a king or emperor a son, because that's how you pass the name and the lineage down. And they were known for having different women or multiple women so they can try to get that son. And because she wasn't able, his wife Josephine wasn't able to give him a son, he told her basically, hey, we got to get divorced. He actually made her get a divorce. Back then when you get a divorce, you had to go before everybody and read a statement and agree to it and sign off on it. Josephine didn't want to, so Napoleon slapped her up and make her grant him a divorce. But he still took care of her. Like, he basically gave her a hell of an alimony separation bag when they divorced and separated. He always did love her. He still loved her, but he did want a son. But when they did wind up getting divorced, man, he set her up nice. He gave her a palace over here. He gave her some servants. She had security, all that. She would get a pension or whatever, money. So he set her up real nice, even though he wasn't really with her no more or married to her, but he was still running through they was getting down and still having relations, even though they weren't together no more. But he was still in love with her, because all while he was off at war, like in Russia and Austria and conquering and having all these battles, he was always sending her letters saying he was thinking of her and missing her and how he wanted to be back with her and all of that. So they had a tight bond, but I think it was some trauma bond that they had. And Napoleon was narcissistic. He was arrogant. He had a short temper. And even in the movie, that he was acting, saying like he knew it all. He know it all. And I started thinking, oh, is this where they get the whole Napoleon complex thing? I guess he was a smaller man compared to above average height or whatever, so he was a little bit smaller, 5'6". So I guess he was controlling, and he was constantly having to prove himself, and he was running shit and taking over kingdoms and things like that. So he wasn't playing no games. So he wasn't being tested. So I'm guessing this is where they got the Napoleon complex thing from, because he was a smaller in stature man, but he wasn't taking no shit. He wasn't taking no shit from nobody, and he was standing on his business. He was about his business, but he was weak when it came to the women. He was doing simp stuff when it came to the women, or when it came to his wife. And let me see. What was another situation that was going on with him and his wife? I know that when they were at dinner, and he was telling her that if she didn't give him a son, they started throwing food at each other and fighting at each other. But she wasn't bowing down to him. You know, she was standing up to him. You know, she started throwing food back at him, telling him, "You ain't nothing. You ain't nobody. You ain't gonna be nothing without me." And we gotta get a new chair up in here. So hit that like, share, subscribe button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Time to upgrade the chair. But and one time when he was away off at battle and off at war, he sent her a letter home saying that what was he was saying something like, you know, you're nothing without me, you know, you'll never be nothing without me. And she his wife Josephine flipped the script on him. She knew how strong he was over her and how much power she had over him, I guess, with how much he loved her and, you know, sexually and all that. She made him come back while he was off at war or whatever, and she was getting his head. She was mentally abusing him. You know, when he found out she was cheating, she was telling him like, you know, you ain't nothing without me. You ain't gonna be nothing without me. You know, you will always love me and all that. And Napoleon over there simping, he crying and being sad and you know and sorrowful. And then she wound up, you know, they wound up making, you know, having sex after that, after she done just violated his manhood and took his masculinity. Then she gave him some, you know, make him feel better. I said, man, the tricks that women do, they were even doing these tricks back in the days, way back in the 1700s. You know, so they say, you know what they say the oldest profession in the world is. So she was using what she got to get what she wanted. But it was a dope movie. It was a dope movie. The battle scenes in it were good. They had one battle scene where he set it up to, I think it was the Russians or something like that. He set it up to where they had a battle, but him and his troops were set up along the riverfront or borders of the lake. So it was in the wintertime, so it was snow. So the lake was frozen, but it was snow over the lake. So they set up around the perimeter of the lake, and they had the other country and their troops that were trying to attack them, had them come forward at them, you know, from the front. But when they came at them, they wound up on the lake while they were trying to advance towards them. And once they got on that lake, they didn't realize they were on a lake. Napoleon started shooting cannons and bombs at the lake, making the ice break, drowning all the whole troops. No, he just drowned them all. They didn't even know they were standing on top of a lake. He crashed the lake, decimated their whole fleet, their whole army. So he was a very tactical and strategic general. You know, he was about his shit. You know, that's one thing. I know his trademark signature of wearing his hat tilted. That was something that he did because they usually would wear their hats facing forward like that, but he wore his to the side like that. And they were saying that he did that so that he could have a clear sight of view when he's on the battlefield or whatever. But that was his little signature style or signature thing with him wearing his hat to the side. But it was a good movie, man. It was a good movie. And a lot of the dynamics that I was speaking about are just between him and Josephine. And it was also a good storyline to show you how, if you don't have control over yourself, over your desires, your temper, your anger, your ego, it'll take you down. Now, he won all these battles, but the French government started saying, "Well, hey, we're having too many casualties. We're losing too many people behind you. You're a good general. We respect what you did, but we're gonna pay you like money every month. We're gonna give you troops, and we're gonna take care of your ex-wife Josephine. But we're finna send you off to an island. We're finna send you off to an island. You can't come back. You got to stay over there. Don't come back." And he was like, okay, cool. It don't matter. So he left. He went to the island. I think he stayed there for like a year maybe. But he was all while he was there, he was writing to Josephine, his ex-wife that he was still keeping contact with, and she would write him back and say how she missed him and this and that, but she getting down with the Russian guy. Napoleon was a pedophile too, I guess, something like that, because he wanted to make a peace treaty with Russia, and he was telling the Russian general, "Hey, I won't crush y'all or I won't annihilate y'all if you give me one of your sisters, as my bride." So he had two sisters. One was already married off to somebody, and he had a second one. But the second sister was only 15. So the Russian emperor said, "You want my sister? She's only 15." Napoleon was like, "That don't matter. I don't care. Send her over here." And the Russian guy didn't do it, so they wound up, kind of going to war, and Napoleon invaded Moscow, St. Petersburg, or whatever. But after he won that battle with Russia, he gets back to France or whatever, and then they send him off to exile because they kind of just getting tired of all the war and losing all the troops and the men. While he's off in exile for that year, he on the island, he gets word back that his ex-wife, Josephine, is dealing with the Russian emperor. The Russian emperor had went to go see her, and he's getting up with her and having relations with her. When he got word of that on the island, he tried to chase and be controlling and possessive over his ex-wife Josephine that he ain't even with no more. That he leave the island, go back to France where he's been exiled from and he ain't supposed to come back. He go over there to France just to get his wife back, or just to to make sure that he said, "You're mine forever. You can't mess with nobody else," or none of that. So Napoleon, not only do he got the Napoleon complex, he got the bad attitude, he got the small man syndrome. He also possessive and obsessive. So he go back to France where he's been exiled from, and he telling her that you ain't never leaving me. You're gonna be with me forever. This is for life. And he gets back over there, and she flipped the script on him. She telling him, you ain't gonna be nothing without me. You love me always, no matter how many other men I mess with and deal with and do all this. I don't care. You still gonna love me. And he was a sucker for her to his dying day. They always had letters, writing letters back and forth, and always staying in contact and things like that. And while he was there back in France, they exiled him again. They were like, "Look, you wasn't even supposed to come back. You lucky we don't kill you. We finna send you somewhere where we know you can't get back from too easily." They sent him to an island like Saint Helens Island, like off the coast of Africa. They sent him way out there. They're like, "Look, you can't come back. You go over there, you stay, don't ever come back." And that's where he ended up dying at. It was on the island of Saint Helena. He was egotistical. He was narcissistic. He felt he never made any mistakes on the battlefield. Even though in his career he had like 61 battles, he wound up losing like 3 million men over the course of his army career, or military career. He wound up losing like 3 million soldiers. So they exiled him to that second island, and that's where he stayed at and died, until he finally died. But it was a good movie, man. I suggest it if you could, get it, check it out. The dynamic between him and Josephine, it was real interesting. And it's kind of like the modern day archetype where they say, there are these high powerful men that run these companies and these businesses, and they're really successful and have a lot of people under their care or control or whatever, but yet they weak when it comes to their wives or when they go home, or to their women. There's a thing where they say the bondage and sadomasochism thing, where the powerful men want to be sex slaves to the women. They want to feel dominated and things like that, because they're controlling things all day, every day in their place of business or in their realm, but they want a woman to be able to control them because they get tired of being in control all the time. So it's kind of like the dynamic that he had with him and Josephine. She was controlling him with her sexual prowess, and he liked being, controlled like that. So it was a very interesting dynamic between him and Josephine. So it was a good movie, but it just goes to show you that high-powered men, successful men, they can be simps. They can be simps for the wrong women or for women in general. Um, that's why you see a lot of the entertainers and ball players and athletes. You thinking to yourself, man, you can have any woman you want, or you got all this money and this and that, but they picking and dealing with the wrong women. They dealing with strippers and low class women and porn stars and things like that. You see it all day, every day with all these ball players like Zion. I don't even know the basketball player Zion Wilson. I think is his name. I don't know his name or whatever. Let me see what is his name. Hold on. Let me see Zion. Yeah, Zion Williamson. He got money. He doing his thing in the league, but he having children or dating and messing with strippers and porn stars. So it just go to show you when men don't have control over their sexual urges or their desires, you can put yourself in a bad situation and you can knock yourself out of position. You always got to stand on your square. Always got to stand on your square, and that's one thing he wasn't doing. Um, Let me see. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. All right, that ain't nothing. Uh, and I think that was one of the major topics that I took from the movie was, man, stand on your square. Always stand on your purpose. Don't get off of your mission for nobody. Not a woman, friends, any of that. If you know your mission, if you know your purpose, stay focused, stay on it. Don't deviate from it. You know. Um, but he did stand up, to Josephine though, because when he was off in Egypt and he got word back that she was messing around on him. When he came back, she wasn't even there. She wasn't at the house, and I think he was looking for her, and he was so mad that he couldn't find her. He had all her bags and everything put out. So he kicked her out the palace, and he gave her another palace, off in the distance or whatever. But he put her bags out and all that, but he was still stuck on her. He was still creeping back over there and going over there and meeting her and and hooking up with her. So he was sprung for that chick. He was sprung for her. Let me see what else. uh, so it was a good movie. Long story short, we ain't gonna be on there too long. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Drop a like in the comment section. Drop a comment in the comment section. God Body Sean, Elevation Nation Conversations. Talking about the Napoleon movie, seeing what we can take from it and elevate, add it to our life, men and women. You know, don't let your sexual urges and your weaknesses control you. Stand on your business. Always stand on your purpose. Um, don't get distracted or whatever. If you know what you come to do, know what you have to do. So, but the Napoleon movie was a good movie, man. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, Napoleon wasn't, he was something else, man. You know, and it kind of makes me look back and say, man, why did they give me that nickname Napoleon back when I was in the streets or in Chicago or whatever like that. Some of those traits I can identify with, but not all of them. I like to think I don't have that Napoleon complex or I'm not controlling. You know, I just to be successful, you do have to control your surroundings. So you have to balance it. It's a dichotomy. You can't get one without the other. You can't be successful without controlling your situation and surroundings. And if you control your situation and surroundings, then people will think you're controlling. So you gotta take the good with the bad with the good. So it is what it is. But good movie, man. Spoiler alerts. Check it out. But Napoleon was a simp. He was a simp for Josephine. They had a toxic relationship. But he was still about that business. But you know, he did get off his square. when he came back from exile just to check up on her, and wound up getting exiled again. You know, dying in exile because he wanted to go back and check on a chick that wasn't even his no more. But it was a good movie. So check it out. Your man God Body Sean, Elevation Nation Conversations. Uh, Learn from other people's mistakes to apply it to your life so you can elevate. Stay on your square. Have control over your weaknesses and your emotions, and you know, men, especially men in position of power. You got to watch it when you're dealing with women. You know, women can be our downfall. They can be your biggest asset, but they can also be your greatest downfall. And we've seen it all through history. Hercules, uh, shit, who else? A lot of the guys that's going through things now. You know, Jonathan Majors, Puff Daddy, who else? Bill Cosby. Um, you know, powerful men letting their sexual desires and their sexual niches or, you know, they're letting those desires and women be the kink in their armor and wind up losing it all behind that. So you definitely gotta watch, you know, watch yourself and watch what you're doing. 50 Cent was talking about, he said he taking a whole year off from women. 50 Cent was just saying that. He said, man, I'm taking the whole 2024 off from sex and women. If it ain't about business, I ain't even rocking with it. So I ain't mad at you. Sometimes you got to do that. You know, you got to take that weakness away so you can focus on all your strengths, continue to build and get better. So I salute you. Maybe I need to try and do that. But we out. I salute y'all. God bless. Peace. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, tapping in. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. God Body Sean. Elevation Nation Conversations, my Elevation Nation tribe. Group of like-minded individuals. We all believe in elevating our life, getting to the next level, learning from others' mistakes, and applying the good to our life to get better and grow. Catch y'all on the next one. We out. Peace.